Hello students, welcome to the lecture on consumer education, and after this lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Discuss what consumer education is, describe the problems faced by the consumer and explain consumer redressal forum. Let's start with the concept of consumer education. Consumer education is the preparation of an individual through skills, concepts and understanding that are required for everyday living to achieve maximum satisfaction and utilization of his resources. It is defined as education given to the consumer about various consumer goods and services covering price, what the consumer can expect, standard trade practice, etc. A process of teaching, training and learning to improve knowledge and develop skills among consumers is called as consumer education. Consumer education relates to imparting knowledge to and developing skills and consumer regarding consumer rights, consumer laws, product quality standards, health aspect of various products, availabilities of various public and private services, units and measurements, redressal of consumer problems and making correct choices while buying different commodities, etc. Let us now understand the rights of the consumer. A consumer has the following basic rights: right to safety against hazardous goods and services, right to be informed about the quality, quantity, purity and standard price, right to choose from a variety at competitive prices, right to be heard, right to seek redressal, right to consumer education. Let's discuss each of these consumer rights. Right to safety against hazardous goods and services. This right protects consumers against hazardous products and services. The product offered for sale should not pose undue risk of physical harm to consumer or their family members. Impure food, defectively manufactured automobiles and tires, drugs having harmful side effects and unsafe appliances can cause harm, risk or injury to consumer. Consumers should observe marks of quality standards before buying products. Right to be informed. Consumers have rights to know about the quality, quantity, purity, potency, standard, price, etc. about the product they go for buying. They have rights to know everything regarding the product, regarding composition, preservatives used, coloring agents mixed in the product, date of manufacture and expiry date, and also about nature of the product like vegetarian or non-vegetarian, etc. Right to choose. Consumers have been given a right to buy things of their choice and likings. They can compare varieties and prices of products and can purchase items the best of their satisfaction. Right to be heard. Consumers have been given the rights to file complaint in case of any cheating or defect in the purchased product. They have right to seek a refund, replacement or remedy, or they can file a case in the consumer court or consumer forum. Right to seek redressal. Consumers have a right to get protected from unfair trade practices by filing complaints in consumer forum or court. Many consumer organizations have been formed to protect consumers and get their problems properly redressed. Right to consumer education. Every consumer has a right of keeping knowledge and skill regarding purchase, use and effects of products. The consumer education covers following areas: health, nutrition, food-borne diseases and food adulteration. Product hazards like hazards due to storage and consumption of a particular product. Product labeling. Pasting labels on the packaging of products regarding their composition, status, weight, ecological impacts, purity standards, color, preservatives use, date of manufacture and expiry, address of producer, manufacturer, matters pertaining to registration, trademarks, marks of standards, etc. Protective laws. Laws framed by the government to protect rights of consumers and seeking redressal, how and whom to approach for redressal, etc. A buyer is a person, a private business firm, or a government office that chooses goods and services and spends money to obtain them either for own use or for sale. A buyer may not be a consumer in all the cases. Anyone who uses or consumes a product is called as consumer. We buy commodities to meet our requirements, to raise our standards of living, to use quality products, to respond to changes in trade and fashions, to fulfill our social requirements, to maintain durable goods in working condition, or to run a business. Consumer must check following things before buying anything. Verification certificate. All shops using weights and measures must display an ILM, Inspector of Legal Metrology verification certificates. A weighting balance must be made of metal and it should also have a straight pointer. Every weight has to be stamped on the reverse with last 2 digits of the year and the unit number of the inspector. Balance and weight. Any balance and scale, if it is made of wood with strings to suspend the pans, is illegal. The consumer must verify the verification scale on a plate fixed to an electric weighting instrument. Weight of the tray is not included with the material to be brought. Buying clothes, alcohol and sweets. A consumer must check the measuring rod while buying alcohol and sweets. He must see that it is made of steel and it has ILMS seals at either end. Packed ready-made garments should have sizes mentioned only in centimeters and not the XXL or XL or L, M, S, etc. For dispensing alcohol, the peg measure must be of glass or silver-plated brass can. Volume of standard peg is 60 ml. Sweets having sugar syrup must be sold by weight and not by numbers. Buying packaged commodity. While packaged commodities, a consumer must see that package carries name and address of manufacturer and packer, net quantity of the package when packed, number of items contained in the package when it is to be sold by number, month and year of manufacturing, expiry date and last before the date. Buying LPG. While buying LPG, the consumer must check the weight with the spring balance, which must be available with the distributor. The net quantity is 14.2 kg and the weight of the empty cylinder is 15 to 17 kg. Buying petroleum, oil and lubricants (POL), consumers should keep in mind that fuel station must display conspicuously a verified 5-liter can by which you can check the quantity of the actual supply. To check the accuracy of the dispensing unit, every fuel station must have a totalizer. The fuel station must have anti-adulteration cell to check any complaint regarding spurious oils. Kerosene oil. The consumer, while buying kerosene oil, should check ILM's verification on the measure and the bottom that should have no cut mark or dent or re-welding mark. He should ensure that the measure is filled to the top hole and it is not containing sponge or wax. Now moving on to the next topic, we will now study the problems faced by consumer. A consumer is one who buys and uses various products. Children, adults, elderly people, all are consumer in one way or the other. Every day we buy different products for our use. It includes items of daily consumption like milk, vegetables, copy, pencil, etc. Items like cloth, furniture, electrical appliances are purchased occasionally. Some items such as car, house, land, etc. are normally purchased once in a lifetime. The shop from where we do purchasing, they too purchase these items from a wholesaler or the manufacturer. Therefore, the same person can be both consumer as well as a seller. The consumer utilizes his resources, money, time, energy, wisdom, etc. to buy these items. The problem faced by consumers are variation in prices. The consumer has to pay different prices for the same item at different places. Big shops are often expensive as they spend some money on the maintenance of shop, advertisement and free home delivery, which is hidden at the expense of the consumer. Some shopkeepers charge higher price than the printed ones by putting their own price tags or increase the price by adding local taxes. the consumer does not know whether he is paying the right price or not. To avoid this, the consumer should verify price from various shops or from Super Bazaar, because by this, the consumer cannot be deceived. Non-availability of items in the market. Sometimes daily consumed items like butter, potatoes, onions, rice, etc. are not available in the market, or one may get these by paying higher prices. Normally, such scarcities are artificial. The moment when there is possibility of price rise of a commodity, it vanishes from the market. It reappears in the market immediately after the price is increased. In such situation, either the consumer has to do without these items or pay a higher price. In some situation like drought or floods, etc., the shopkeepers hoard stock of essential items and sell these items only when consumer agrees to pay a higher price. Adulteration. Adulteration of goods is one such problem which is faced by the consumer in day-to-day purchases. In the present times, the biggest problem is that the consumer does not get pure commodities like ghee, milk, spices, maida, besan, cereals, etc., even if he is prepared to pay higher prices. Such items are sold in the market with a guarantee of purity but are found to be adulterated when used. Adulteration of yellow powder in turmeric powder, small peppers in rice, starch in milk, and cheese and used tea leaves are generally sold in the market. So in order to avoid such cheating, the consumer should always buy only from reliable shops. The Government of India has enacted an act called PFA, Prevention of Food Adulteration Act in 1954, to check such immoral acts of adulteration. This act was implemented in 1955. Under this act, minimum standards have been fixed for all food products available in the market. It is mandatory to adopt these standards. If a food product does not conform to these standards, it will be treated as adulterated. Unfair means of measurement. Incorrect measurement is another problem in addition to adulteration. Often standard weights and measurements are not used in the market. For example, spurious underweights or stones, bricks, etc. are used in place of standard weight. Sometimes the seller weight picking along with the goods. The seller tries to deceive the consumer by using the hand weighing scales in place of standard scales. The hand weighing scales are usually weights less than the usual weight. To prevent unfair means of measurement, government has passed certain acts from time to time. 1956, government has passed a Stand 1 Dared Measurement Act. 1962, decimal and metric system of measurement was introduced. This system has following units of measurement: unit of length, meter; unit of weight, gram; unit for measuring liquids, liter. In 1976, Standard Weight and Measurement Act were passed. Under this act, use of any other method except decimal and metric system is illegal. For weighing and measuring, the use of standard weight and measure is compulsory. In 1977, certain rules were fixed for packed products. Under these rules, weighing of the products along with the weight of the packaging is illegal. The consumer should take the following steps in order to avoid such malpractices. The fruit and vegetable vendors should not be allowed to weigh by stone or brick in place of standard weights. The bar of their hand weighing scale should be checked beforehand. In case of weighing scale, ensure that the needle is at zero. Check the weights and ensure that the weights are not hollow or with false bottom. The shopkeeper should not be allowed to weigh the goods along with packing or boxes. Before purchasing packed goods, check the weight on the label. If the consumer feels that the shopkeeper uses malpractices in weights and measures, he should immediately lodge a complaint in Weight and Measure Bureau. Misleading advertisement. These days, a product is produced by a number of manufacturers. Every day, new products are launched. The manufacturer resort to advertisement for the sale of their products. The advertisement give details of quality of product and method of use to the consumer. Normally, the manufacturer gives an exaggerated account of his products. Such advertisement lure the consumer in buying these products. After the purchase, the consumer realizes that it does not match with what has been claimed in the advertisement. Such misleading advertisement cheat the consumer. The consumer should not purchase a product only on the basis of the advertisement. Misleading and incomplete labels. The labels on products provide information about the products to the consumer. The consumer can decide judiciously after comparing the quality and price of the product from the label. Often the manufacturers try to cheat the consumer by appending incomplete information on the label. Sale of substandard goods. Sometimes seller sells substandard goods at a higher price in place of standard goods. For example, selling furniture made up of inferior quality wood after polishing using substandard sheets in steel almirahs, and furniture selling substandard cloth by claiming it of a superior quality and inflates its price, etc. Sale of inferior goods. The seller does not hesitate to sell even inferior goods in order to earn more profit. Inferior medicine, cosmetics, oil, ghee, etc. are sold in original pickings. To check the sale of such goods, the consumer should not encourage production of such goods. For this, the consumer should be vigilant while purchasing goods. The consumer should check the label carefully. In case he finds it different, he should not purchase that good. The consumer should not sell empty pickings of original goods, rather crush these pickings to avoid reuse. Malpractices adopted by the manufacturers or sellers. Manufacturers or sellers lure the consumer to buy their products by adopting malpractices. Misleading schemes like free gifts or heavy discounts attracts the consumer easily. In reality, the price is inflated in the first place and then discounts of 20% to 50% is offered. There is no chance in prices in reality. Sometimes a producer imitates the color, shape and name of popular brand available in the market. Thus, the consumer is cheated and he purchases an inferior good in place of standard one. Shortage of standardized products. Most of the goods available in the market do not carry standardized markings. When a consumer goes to the market to buy an electric iron, he finds a number of brands without standardized markings. Still, these brands are very cheap. In such a situation, the consumer is not able to decide whether he should buy a cheaper and popular brand or less popular standardized expensive brand.
Consumers generally face a number of problems. They include non-availability of goods, adulteration, hoarding, black marketing, deceptive and misleading selling techniques, and false warranties or guarantees.
Now we will discuss the consumer protection.
Consumer Protection Act and its definitions. Let us now go through various definitions related to the Consumer Protection Act 1986. Consumer: any person who buys any commodity or service or is a user of such commodity or service is known as consumer. The Act provides protection to persons who really use and consume the goods and services. Any person must satisfy two conditions to claim himself as a consumer. First, the service must have been rendered to him. And second, he must have paid or promised to pay for the same. If a person buys capital goods and he uses it to render services to the public for earning his livelihood, then he is also recognized as consumer. For example, if a car or auto rickshaw or a Xerox machine is purchased by an individual to earn livelihood, and if he finds any defect with the product, he can seek redressal from Consumer Grievances Mechanism. However, if any person buys a commodity with an intention to resale or trade, then he will not be recognized as consumer. Traders: A trader is any person who sells goods or distributes any goods for sale, or a manufacturer who produces goods for sale, or even a packer who packs and sells any goods. Goods. Sale of Goods Act 1930 defines goods as the commodities purchased or produced for sale. It may be food items, or stationery, or metals, or automobile, or anything which is purchased or produced for sale. Service. Service means service of any description which is made available to potential users. Services are not rendered free of cost or under a contract of personal service. Service means a promise sold to a consumer about performing some activities for him that may provide him satisfaction. Service includes the provision of facilities related with banking, financing, insurance, transport, processing units, electrical or other energy supply, lodging or boarding, entertainment, building construction, or supplying news or other information. Unfair trade practice. Any bluff, misleading statements and acts or deceptive practice adopted by businessmen for using or supplying any goods and services or for promoting their sales is called as unfair trade practice. Let us understand what unfair trade practices are. First, false representation that the goods or services are of a certain standard, quality, quantity or grade. Second, false representation of the second-hand or renovated or old goods as fresh and new goods. Third, false representation by a seller or supplier about any affiliation or sponsorship received from any organization. Fourth, give any warranty or guarantee to the public which the seller does not have. Defect. Defect means any fault, imperfection, or shortcoming in quality or purity of goods in comparison with a set standard. Genuineness of goods is maintained by setting standards. In some cases, the standards may be prescribed by laws. Therefore, the standards are required to be maintained by or under any law for the time being in force, or under any contract, express or implied, or as is claimed by the trader in the manner whatsoever in relation to any goods. The term defect is related to any goods. Deficiency. Deficiency means any fault, imperfection, or shortcoming, or inadequacy in the quality and nature, or manner of performance of services in comparison with a benchmark quality. A perfect service can be rendered only when few standards are set. The laws related to services prescribe the standards. Thus, service performance is required to be maintained by or under any law for the time being in force, or has been undertaken to be performed by a person in relation to any service. The term deficiency is related to services. Consumer dispute redressal agencies. There is a three-tier system envisaged under the Consumer Protection Act 1986 for the consumer disputes redressal. The three tiers of the system are: first, the District Consumer Disputes Redressal Tier, known as District Forum. Second, the State Consumer Disputes Redressal Tier, known as State Commission. And third, the National Consumer Disputes Redressal Tier, known as National Commission. Apart from these three agencies, the Honorable Supreme Court of India is the final court of approval. A quick look at the various terms just explained.
Protection. Consumer protection promotes fair trading and protecting the rights of consumers and businesses. Consumer protection is also responsible for some occupational licenses, buying, selling and renting homes, cooperatives and not-for-profit legislation. It notifies the public about the types of fraud in the marketplace and offers guidance on how to file complaints or send in tips regarding suspicious activities. Consumer protection also provides updates on disciplinary action. Due to mass production, new products are constantly introduced in the market. Consumers find it difficult to determine the uses for which they are fitted and to select them wisely because advertisement, attractive packaging, display and mass media are extensively used by manufacturers to push goods on consumers. The CFTC's Fraud Awareness and Prevention Program involves educating future market users, protecting future market participants and reviewing information and complaints that market participants send to us. The CFTC is a federal agency that regulates the trading of commodity, future and option contracts in the United States and takes action against firms suspected of illegally or fraudulently selling commodity futures and options. Before you trade in commodities or future, know the kinds and signs of fraud and the basic of future trading. Protect yourself from the many types of commodities fraud that exist in today's financial markets. Home improvement information. Anyone who performs improvement on residential property, single or multiple family dwellings of 6 units or less, condos or coupes, when the individual job exceeds $200 and when the cash price of all work performed in 1 year exceeds $1,000 is considered a home improvement contractor and must register in order to legally operate in the state. Fraud and scams, employment or job scams. Employment or job scams are usually a form of advance fee fraud where unscrupulous persons posing as recruiters or employers of attractive employment opportunities that require the job seeker to pay money in advance. Job seekers can protect themselves by following a few rules of thumb. Verify with the company. Check out the business website to make sure the opening is posted there. If one is still skeptical, call the business to verify the opening. Search for the job online. If a job looks suspicious, search for it on Google. If the exact same job posting comes up in many other cities, it may well be a scam. Let's know the meaning of Amendment Act 2001. The Consumer Protection Amendment Act 2001, among other things, addresses the issue of a quicker disposal of complaints, widening the scope of the Act, strengthening the consumer courts. It is also proposed to establish a Consumer Protection Council in every district in order to strengthen the consumer movement at the grassroots level. Buyer may cancel for failure to deliver before accepting delivery of goods or services under a retail sale or retail hire purchase agreement. The buyer may cancel the agreement if the seller does not. Consumer aids help and guide a consumer for selecting a right product. Different types of consumer aids are labels, standard mark, advertisement and leaflets. Standardized marks. Government has fixed some minimum standards. Products which confirm these standards and found to be of good quality after certain tests are given standard marks. Standard mark ensures the quality of the product and guarantees that the good has been tested and found to be of a good quality. Eco mark. These marks have been recently introduced by BIS, Bureau of Indian Standard. This mark is testimony of not only ISI standard of the product but also ensure recycling and control the population in the environment. This mark is given on products like paper, bags, jute bags, plastic goods, packing, material, etc. Wool mark. This mark is awarded by the International Wool Secretariat. It ensures that the product with this mark is of pure wool, or the label should mention the percentage of wool and other fiber used in the finished product. Labels and price lists. Label informs the consumer about the quality and method of its usage. Label is engraved, printed or pasted on the packing, that is bottle, container, packets, etc. of the product. Bureau of Indian Standard has fixed certain standard for a complete label. Label must provide following information: name of the product, ingredients of the product, weight and quality of the final product, date of manufacture, date of expiry, nature, address and trademark of manufacture of the product, standardized mark, direction for usage and storage at guarantee period, price of product, batch and license number. If any, often the manufacturer gives income and wrong information, or information on the label is blurred and this misleads consumer. Such a label becomes a problem than an asset to the consumer. Let's inform consumer about various available products. Packing. Packed products are safe in many ways. Packed products does not get spoiled, is safe against breakage. There is no possibility of adulteration. There is no possibility of pilferage. Easy to carry, colorful and attractive packings are for products meant for children, but attractive packing is no guarantee quality of the product. We should look to wool mark specs also before purchasing a product. Sometimes manufacturer tries to psychologically. Unrealistic advertiser like get fairer in 10 days forces the consumer psychologically to buy this product. Consumers should try to get information only regarding availability of new products from advertisement. Purchasing should be made only on the basis of requirement and common sense. Advertisement. Advertisement videos important information to the cons regarding availability, quality and mass use of the product. The manufacturer advises his product through various mediums: newspaper, magazine, radio, television, etc. Purchasing an item only under the influence of advertisement shows the ignorance and immaturity of the consumer, because consumers sometimes these advertisements do not have proper information about the products and mislead and cheats the consumer. Now in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. Consumer education is the preparation of an individual through skills, concepts and understanding that are required for everyday living to achieve maximum satisfaction and utilization of his resources. A consumer is one who buys and uses various products. Consumer protection promotes fair trading and protecting the rights of consumer and businesses. Consumer aids help and guide a consumer for selecting a right product. Different types of consumer aids are labels, standard mark, advertisement and leaflets.